LakelandCarKeys.com. I'm currently working on a 2005 BMW X5. That is the EWS3, and it has this diamond head remote key. Now, a lot of times these remote keys, the OEM ones, have rechargeable batteries, and when they die, you know, it's a pain to try to open them up and replace them. And this one has the buttons broken off, so we're going to go ahead and cut them a new key. Now, there are two different style transponders for these keys. This is the ID44, and there is an ID46 version. So if you have the original key, definitely read it and make sure you have the proper transponder. I believe once we program this transponder, we'll have to do the remote programming on the vehicle separately. Alright, so when you go to decode these keys, just make sure that they're clean and all the dirt inside of them is all out of it. Sometimes you have to scrape the metal just to make sure you get a little fresh metal contact. This one I actually had to flip it over and try the same thing because the front side wouldn't decode properly. So we're going to go ahead and decode this one, and then run it in, get a valid key code, and then cut our new key. Alright, so that one's there. It's getting all cut up. We'll have to do the same cut on the other side. But once that's complete, we can go ahead and move on to programming. So this is our final cut. We're just going to go ahead and test it, make sure it turns in the vehicle. We get all our lights on, and we can move on to programming. Alright, so this is an EWS3 vehicle. The EWS box will be under there. You have to take it out, take it apart, and either solder to it, use an AK90, which has a EEPROM adapter that will go over the top of the main processing chip, or you can use the X4 solderless adapter and get the information that way. Alright, so we're inside the vehicle. I have the solderless adapter hooked up to the EWS. There is a little clip that comes with it. Now, you know, this doesn't come with instructions, and I couldn't figure out how to attach this wire to this clip. And then I went on YouTube and watched a video, and basically you got to cut the head off of this clip and take it apart and attach it to the wire inside. So right now I just have it wrapped around. I was able to read the file. I already read the file, but when I get back to my shop, I'll solder it. So if you have one of these, just know you need to do some pre-setup on that to be able to get in there. Alright, so once you're hooked up to the vehicle, what you want to do is you want to go into prog for the programmer, and then go into emo. Select BMW, and then you want to roll up to EWS3. Alright, so we use the adapter. So if you're soldering, you're going to want to use that weld option. But basically I went into adapter and made sure all my connections were good. This will show you where to hook it up. You're going to have to clean all the coating off the bottom of it. And then you do have to hook that one wire up into that very first pin on that main processor. Alright, on the front of your processor, it'll have your mask number. Pay attention to that because you might need it later. But we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And then basically you would just read the file and save it. I like to make it a habit of reading the file twice and then save a backup file labeled backup so that we know we have the file, but I already did that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go from the main screen, go into Emo Data Tool. Again, we're going to select BMW, and we're going to select EWS3. Alright, we're going to select EWS3 and start programming. And then it'll ask us to open a file. So just remember, whatever folder it pulls up, remember you got to go into the pad prog folder. All right. So actually, let me just back out of this. All right. So if I go local file, pad prog, scroll up today's date. And then you can also always look at the time of the files if you read multiple files. So this one right here is the file we want. I'm going to go ahead and open it, and it'll give us our key data. All right, so this car can have 10 keys stored. And as we can see, key 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been used. The next key slot is key 5. So I'm going to take our new key. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the programmer and select key 5 and select make dealer key. Alright, so if I was cloning, I could just go ahead and select VVDI super chip, put a super chip in there, and put this key in the shell, and it would start up the car and go. But because we are using an actual remote key that has the internal processor, I'm going to go ahead and select that and then select OK. Alright, and it's telling me down the bottom it's making the key to please wait. Alright, and it says make dealer key success. Now the key can start the engine. So that means we do not have to write the file back to the EWS. We can go ahead and put the EWS back in the box, and we should be able to put this key in the car and start it up. Alright, so I'm back in the vehicle. I have the original key and I have the new key. Now this original key, the remote has no functions, and you know, this vehicle I'm not 100% sure if the remote functions on it actually work. But this is our new key. As you can see down there goes our EWS box. I just plugged it in, and we can go ahead and we give it a second to recognize the key. And if it doesn't start, just cycle it off, give it another second, cycle it on, and give it a couple of seconds just for it to recognize that key is in there, and then start it up. And then once it starts up, just make sure it runs for, you know, at least 10 seconds. Alright, so we know our transponder's programmed, the key's ready to go, and let's see if we can figure out the remote programming. So I'm going to take the new key out. I'm going to put his original key in and just turn it to the on position. Alright, and let me go ahead and I'm going to go into emo programming, select Europe, BMW, and then, alright, let's automatically diagnose the model, see if it can go through and auto detect what it is. Alright, so that auto detect did not work. It failed. It looks like that's only for CAS system. So let's go ahead and let's back out of this. Oh, go BMW, and then we can select from system, or we can go on special functions. Alright, let me just go ahead and select from system, and it's an EWS immobilizer system, and it only gives me the options to do the EEPROM, so there's no remote programming options in here. And let me go into special functions, and it might be an onboard procedure, so let me just go and double look at this. I thought it would have been in there, and I was told it was a separate programming procedure. I don't believe alright, so yep, it's not the same as the transponder. So I did go look it up and just confirm it is an onboard procedure for programming the remote. And basically what you would do is you would put the key in, you would turn it, you know, on. You could try on, or you could try it to the 1. I've seen 2 different instructions that say either or. And then you pull it off, and then you hold this arrow up, which is your unlock button, and then you press the lock button 3 to 5 times. And then once you press those buttons, the car should recognize the remote and program it. This particular vehicle, it didn't work, but also when I pressed the door locks, nothing happened. So, you know, this is one of those things, especially with older European cars. I'm not wasting my time trying to figure out why this remote won't program. Obviously, the power door locks don't work, and there's no remote here that can show me that there are other issues with the system. I am not going to diagnose the system. But yeah, this job's completed. What we can do is just verify. I could test the remote signal, and yep, so this key is definitely sending out a signal, so there's nothing wrong with the key, and it has signal. But obviously the lock system on this car doesn't work, and you know, that's something else that the shop can diagnose. But I am done with my job. Thanks for watching. That was a EWS3 key added using the X-Force keyless adapter and the Key 2 Plus.